Senator from Wyoming.
Thank you, Mr. President. I come to the floor today to oppose the Democrats' federal election takeover. The President just gave one of his rare press conferences. It was only the second one he actually gave on American soil. The White House seems to think that the cure for Joe Biden's poll numbers is more communications from Joe Biden, and the press conference went on for 1 hour and 54 minutes. Well, the White House doesn't have a communications problem. It has an agenda problem. The American people understand exactly what President Biden and Senator Schumer and Speaker Pelosi are trying to sell. The American people aren't buying it. Democrats don't need a message reset. They need a better agenda for the nation. What we're about to vote on tonight has nothing to do with the priorities of the American people, has nothing to do with coronavirus, has nothing to do with 40-year high inflation numbers which are biting into the paychecks of the American people. It has nothing to do with the crisis at the southern border, where 2 million illegal immigrants have crossed the border this year, criminals among them, drug smugglers among them, gang members among them. It's nothing to do with what's driven the President's approval numbers to an all-time low of 40%, which it is today in the Gallup poll. Democrats' number one goal, they stated at the beginning of the Congress, is to pass a federal takeover of elections. An election takeover bill was the first bill they introduced. Democrats are ignoring what the American people are demanding so that they can do what their radical fringe is demanding. Democrats want elections to be run by Washington, D.C. instead of the 50 states. The Constitution is very clear. It says the states run our elections. Well, why do they want to take over our elections? Well, Democrats want to do things like banning voter ID laws. Now, 80% of Americans believe people should have to show a photo ID in order to vote. Senator Schumer has already twice tried to cram an election takeover bill down the throats of the American public. This is the third time. So far, he has failed. So why? Why has this continued to fail? Not simply because Republicans oppose it. It's failed because the American people oppose it. The American people aren't looking for a federal government takeover of elections. A recent Gallup poll asked people what they think is the most important issue facing our country. Voting laws didn't crack the top 20. In fact, voting laws received less than 1% of the vote. It was an asterisk in the results. Democrats' scare tactics on voting laws have utterly failed. Now Democrats are so desperate to change our voting laws to their advantage that they're going to try to break the Senate. That's what they're doing now. The Senate is supposed to be, quote, the world's greatest deliberative body. Some Democrats want deliberations to end forever. Democrats claim they'll change our election laws and then they'll stop. One time only. Claim they'll only rig the game just once. Well, we all know that's not true. They can't resist the temptation to rig the U.S. Senate once. They won't resist the temptation to rig the rest of the government either. Once Democrats change the rules, there'll be no stopping them from doing everything they've ever dreamed. Pack the Supreme Court, add new states to the Union, amnesty for illegal immigrants, try to take away the guaranteed rights by the Second Amendment, you name it. If they could do it, sooner or later, they will. There's a bill in the Senate right now to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. 46 Democrats in the Senate have signed on to a bill for statehood for the District of Columbia. It's almost the entire Democrat caucus. Democrats have also introduced a bill to give statehood to Puerto Rico. If these bills become law, Democrats know they'll get 4 more Democrat senators permanently. One change to the Senate rules, and America would have a permanent one-party rule. Don't take my word for it on amnesty either. Just months ago, Democrats tried to pass amnesty for 6.5 million illegal immigrants. That's greater than the population of 32 of our 50 states. Amnesty of this magnitude would permanently remake our electorate. New York City has already granted the right to vote to illegal immigrants. Democrats break the rules of the Senate in order to change the rules. They'll pass amnesty as fast as they can. Over the past year, they have gone on record, they have sponsored the bills, yet they know that they have failed to persuade the American public to support this agenda. They know they'll never have bipartisan support to pass the radical amnesty for illegal immigrants, never have bipartisan support to ban voter identification, never have bipartisan support for taxes and punishing regulations that continue to drive up the cost of energy, never persuade the American people to support their radical, extreme, dangerous, and scary agenda. Yet, rather than change the agenda to comply with what the American people want, the Democrats want to change the rules. So desperate for this radical agenda, they're willing to destroy the Senate. Democrats have a long list of partisan bills that they'd like to pass. All of these bills have two things in common. They have nothing to do with improving the lives of the American people as the American people see it today, and they give more power to the Democrat politicians in Washington, D.C. Let me remind my colleagues that there is an election in November. In the last election cycle, 7 Democrats ran for president saying they would change the rules of the Senate. They all lost. Democrats who said they'd change the rules lost key Senate races in swing states, including Montana, Maine, and Kentucky. The American people have spoken loud and clear. They don't want to see this Democrat power grab. The American people want us to focus on their priorities. It's up to them to tell us what's important to them. And what we're hearing loud and clear from the American public, it's coronavirus, it's inflation, it's national security, it's crime, it's securing the border. Not a bigger power grab for politicians. The Democrats in this body seem to have forgotten the people that they were elected to serve. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
Who seeks recognition? The senator from Delaware.